As you guys know, these past 2 days, our Houston Texans have been practicing with the Green Bay Packers. And, today we're just going to talk about what happened during those 2 days and how our Texans did against the Aaron Rodgers-led Packers. Now, day one, you didn't really hear much about how they actually did as much as in day two, because mostly in day one, everything everyone was talking about was, as you guys know, Lonnie Johnson. And if you don't know, well, Lonnie Johnson laid out a Packers rookie tight end. His helmet flew off, and then Lonnie Johnson flexed on him, and then all the Packers got pissed, and there was a little fight. Everybody was talking about that, and then, later on that same day, Lonnie Johnson laid out another Packers player on special teams, and then after that happened, Bill O'Brien sent Lonnie Johnson to the locker room, and a lot of people didn't like that move, but I saw that move as being kind of smart, because if the Packers guys were already pissed off at Lonnie Johnson for, just playing football, who knows what these guys would have done. Like, I don't want Packers players targeting Lonnie Johnson. They're already pissed off. Well, they were already pissed off because of the hit on the tight end. And then, he laid out the guy on special teams. And who knows how things would have gone from there. My guess is the Packers players would have been targeting him. And, you don't want Lonnie Johnson getting hurt. So, it's a good idea to send him inside. And I'm pretty sure Bill O'Brien loved it. Pretty sure. Who wouldn't love it? Let's be real here. It's football. That happens. The Packers are clearly a soft team. Literally, Jimmy Graham was crying about it after that first practice day. Oh, you can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. It's football. Get over it. It was, a regular practice. It's not like if it was non-contact. Yeah, some people are saying it's non-contact. Then if it was non-contact, why in the world are they wearing shoulder pads? It's clearly a contact practice. But, it's not Lonnie Johnson's fault. The Packers are soft, so what can you do? Now, the other incident was Matt Khalil. This was something else a lot of people were talking about. Matt Khalil got completely embarrassed by Rashawn Gary. And, we had been hearing Matt Khalil was struggling against J.J. Watt a few days prior. And this ain't no surprise, guys. Like, if you're going to sit here and, have faith in Matt Khalil, have hope for him, then I don't know what to tell you. The guy he is in it. He is what he is. Some people want to blame his injuries for his decline in play, but personally, I don't think the guy's ever been good. He went to a Pro Bowl, but like I always say, Pro Bowls are just a popularity contest. The guy might have been good in college, but in the NFL, he's been terrible every single year, and him coming to the Texans isn't going to change that. If he was on the Colts, if he was on the Titans, if he was on the Jaguars, we would all be here clowning Matt Khalil how bad he is. Just because he's on the Texans, doesn't mean we shouldn't call it how it is. We really got to call it how it is, and how it is Matt Khalil isn't a good football player. And that's kind of the last thing I'm going to say about Matt Khalil, unless he does something else that's probably worse than this. But getting beat by a rookie, the way he got beat, if you guys saw the video, you guys know. But if you didn't, he got beat real bad. It was embarrassing. The guy shouldn't even make the team, honestly. Now, another thing from day one that people were really talking about was Titus Howard completely destroying Kyler Fackrell on one-on-ones. And, I saw that as a very good thing. I was like, damn, Titus Howard actually looks like a competent offensive lineman out there. But, some people, for whatever reason, they prefer being right than to be proven wrong. And, the team looked better as a result. Some people have this narrative about Titus Howard that, he's from a small school, so he's going to suck. So when they saw that clip of Titus Howard destroying Kyler Fackrell, they came up with excuses. Oh, false start. Oh, holding. Oh, that's a no-name. Well, let me debunk all that BS. First, Kyler Fackrell. He isn't just some guy. The guy was a third-round pick from 2 years ago. Last year, he had 10.5 sacks. His rookie year, he had 3. Players get better. I don't know if that was just some good season from Fackrell and he's going to go into being a terrible player. I don't know. It's still too early in his career. But what we do know is that he's at least a decent football player. Now, the false start. No, that wasn't a false start. Drills like that, they usually go off the quarterback or the offensive lineman. Meaning, either when the quarterback, snaps the ball, that's when the lineman takes off and, starts going. The snap of the ball doesn't matter. Or they base it off of when the offensive lineman moves. So they go off of Titus Howard. Never do they wait for the ball to actually be snapped. That's how one-on-ones work. Now, the holding. Seriously, you're going to call that a holding? That ain't no holding, dude. You want to see a holding? Go watch the Green Bay Packers from a couple years ago. Any offensive play they ran. Held every single play. What Titus Howard did, he didn't hold anyone. He just simply dominated the guy and then threw him down and walked away like nothing happened. And, I love that because Titus Howard is actually showing something. Now, something else from day one. J.J. Watt did leave practice early due to tightness in his groin. He's fine, though. Don't worry. No big deal. And also, J.J. Watt broke a kid's bike that day. So, yeah. Now, in terms of how the team actually did during day one, well, offensively, it was up and down. Started off pretty slow and then later, started doing better. Defensively, the defense did pretty good all day. I mean, that's pretty much it. Day 2 is really when I feel like there was more going on or there wasn't anything kind of taking away from the actual play on the field. No, oh my God, Lonnie Johnson did this. There was nothing like that. Day 2 was more calm. I mean, Lonnie Johnson didn't practice that day, obviously, because Packers players would probably be targeting him. So I think it's fine to hold out Lonnie Johnson. And then Watt and DJ Reader didn't practice. And from what I heard, and this isn't just coming from the Texans media, I went over to see what the Packers media was saying. From what I heard, day 2, the Texans completely dominated the Packers, in every single way. I mean, Watson and the backup quarterbacks were able to move the ball very well through the air. I mean, all sorts of receivers got open. Kahali Waring, Steven Mitchell, Tyron Johnson. Everybody was doing something, it felt like. I heard the offensive line was opening up holes in their run game, surprisingly, and they were also doing a good job in protecting Deshaun Watson. I heard our running backs did well. The name I heard the most was Higdon. The offensive line, from what I heard, obviously, Matt Khalil struggled. No surprise there. Titus Howard and Max Sharping are actually doing pretty good, guys. So, I'm praying for the sake of Deshaun Watson that these guys are the real deal. Hopefully it's just not, Houston media hyping these guys up. Obviously, the Packers media didn't really have much to say about them, but that's always going to be the case due to them being offensive linemen. Nobody really ever talks about offensive linemen. Only we're talking about offensive linemen because we know offensive line is one of our biggest weaknesses. That's why we focus on it, and other teams aren't really going to care about our offensive line. They're not going to talk about it more, so that could be why we didn't hear them talk about the rookies. But from what I heard, they are doing good, and hopefully It's true. Hopefully, it transitions over into the regular season, preseason first, obviously, but into the regular season, and they do a good job in protecting Deshaun Watson. And also, there's a little bit surprising. Titus Howard and Max Sharping, they're both taking starting guard reps. Starting center reps at the moment, Greg Manx, while Nick Martin is sidelined. What about Zach Fulton? In my opinion, Zach Fulton's our best offensive lineman. Why in the world is he, with the second string, is just kind of questionable to me. So I asked Pat D. Stat yesterday, if Max and Titus start at guard, is Fulton our center? He said no, Nick Martin would be our center. Now, I think Martin is a, average at best center, and he might possibly could maybe be our best center on the roster, but I personally think Fulton can actually give him a run for his money, so I don't see why the Texans are wasting their time with Greg Manx at center when they should be using Zach Fulton to see if Zach Fulton can take over for center, because we already know Nick is better than Greg, but we don't know if Nick is better than Zach, so we should really be throwing Zach Fulton at center to see if he can be that guy. Now, Henderson, from what I heard, he held his own. And, from what I've been hearing from him earlier during training camp, that's a good thing, meaning he's progressing. But it's Seantrell Henderson. At some point, he's either A, going to get hurt, or B, start sucking. So, yeah. And then Martinez Rankin. This is disappointing, man, because you guys know all offseason I've been, on the Martinez Rankin hype train. I want Martinez Rankin to be good. But apparently he struggled on day 2. And the secondary did very well from what I hear. Very well. Surprised me. Kind of very well. And apparently Aaron Rodgers is very frustrated, or was very frustrated. They were running 2-minute drills, and the Texans defense forced Aaron Rodgers to go 3 and out. Think about that. Think back to the days where, 2017... Seahawks game, Patriots game, defense couldn't get a stop against those elite quarterbacks. And then go into 2018, Texans defense couldn't get a stop against Nick Foles. Even though Nick Foles isn't an elite quarterback, they still couldn't get a stop. And then here, early 2019, and I know it's just training camp, they were able to get off the field during a 2-minute drill against Aaron Rodgers, an elite quarterback. So, hopefully it's a sign of things to come. And keep in mind, guys, Aaron Rodgers was very frustrated today. He even said, he doesn't want to do joint practices again. Keep in mind as well, J.J. Watt didn't practice today, or day 2. Clowney didn't participate because he's holding out. And then DJ Reader was also held out of day 2. I'm just saying, if Rodgers was frustrated with the backup defensive linemen and the secondary, imagine if the actual starters were out there. Just imagine. Overall, I think that's a good start for the Texans. I know it's, way too early, being a few days before preseason game 1, but all I'm going to say is this. If the Texans can frustrate a very good quarterback with a bad secondary, just maybe our secondary isn't so bad after all. And those are just my thoughts, because you guys know me, if you've been following me this whole offseason, I don't like our secondary that much. J-Joe is old. He's bald. He probably smells like old people now. Broby, I didn't like the signing. Lonnie Johnson, I just didn't think he was ready. But, maybe I was wrong, and I hope that I'm wrong. And from the sounds of it so far, it sounds like I'm wrong, and, I'm all for it. Prove me wrong, please. And, yeah, but like I said, it's a good start for the Texans. Now we got to see them do it all of preseason, and then hopefully it transitions over into the regular season. But, yeah. Anyways, with that being said, that's all I really have for you guys for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.